Hey guys, so for today's video we are doing a dupe video. So Alter Ego just came out with the Coastal eyeshadow palette, and this is supposed to be a dupe for the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. This video is kindly sponsored by Alter Ego, but honestly I'd be doing this video whether or not it was sponsored. I would be comparing these two eyeshadow palettes either way. You guys know I just love sharing eyeshadow palettes with you guys and creating multiple looks with them, but sometimes eyeshadow palettes are expensive. This is $69, so Alter Ego created the same color story for only $20. Alter Ego did give me a discount code for you guys. You can use the code Angela10 to get 10% off Alter Ego's website, so that would make this palette only $18. I have used Alter Ego palettes many times, and I think they do a great job at duping the palettes, and I view what they do kind of similarly to how like e.l.f. is duping Charlotte Tilbury's blush ones. Alter Ego is just duping a high-end eyeshadow palette. I think it's kind of the same. So in this video, I did swatches of both palettes to show you the comparable shades, and I did this eye look. Oh, I forgot to have you guess. Which eye do you think is which? Oh my gosh. So one eye I'm wearing the Rose Quartz palette, and one eye I'm wearing the Coastal palette. Take your guess now before I tell you. Yeah, okay, cool. So like I said, I'm gonna do swatches of both palettes and show you how I did this eye look, and I'm doing a wear test as well. Here are what the palettes look like side by side. So on top we have the Alter Ego Coastal palette, and on the bottom is the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. So if you wanna see how these two palettes compare and if the Coastal is a good dupe for Rose Quartz, go ahead and keep on watching. All right, let's start with swatches. I have a nice clean arm here. This is Jellyfish from Coastal, Cherished from Rose Quartz. I feel like tone-wise, these look pretty much exactly the same. Cherished does look a little bit more pigmented. This is Pearl from Coastal, and Blissful from Rose Quartz. Again, color-wise, they look pretty similar, but I feel like Blissful has a little bit more depth of a darker pigment into that shade. This is Shore from Coastal, and Self Love from Rose Quartz. I feel like the Rose Quartz one has a little bit more of a pink undertone to it. This is Abyss from Coastal, and Empowered from Rose Quartz. I feel like those two look pretty similar. This is Sparkle from Coastal, and Moon Magic from Rose Quartz. And then this is Shallow from Coastal, and Gratitude from Rose Quartz. Again, based off those swatches, the Huda Beauty one has a tiny bit more of a pink undertone to it. All right, so here's the first row of shades. This is Haze from Coastal, and Mantra from Rose Quartz. Those two look almost exactly the same. This is Shell from Coastal, and Happiness from Rose Quartz. Ooh, again, those two look pretty good. This is Ripple from Coastal, and Cosmic Love from Rose Quartz. I feel like for this shade, the Alter Ego one has a little bit more depth to it. This is Breeze from Coastal, and Serenity from Rose Quartz. Those actually look more similar than I thought. In the pan, Serenity looks a little bit more purple, but swatch, those look pretty close. This is Urchin from Coastal, and Precious from Rose Quartz. Those ones look good as well. Then we have Glow from Coastal, and Quartz from Rose Quartz. I feel like this whole row of shades, the colors look a lot more similar than they did with the first row, so not bad. Now on to the last row. This is Reef from Coastal, and Radiate from Rose Quartz. Radiate looks a little bit softer to me. This is Starfish from Rose Quartz. Sorry, I said that wrong. That's actually Starfish from Coastal. And this is Joy from Rose Quartz. Starfish looks like it has a bit more of like a salmony pink to it, whereas the one from Rose Quartz looks a little bit more cool tone to me. So that'll be interesting because this is a shade I wanted to use on my eyes today, so we'll see how that turns out. This is Siren from Coastal, and Abundance from Rose Quartz. This is one of my favorite shades in the palette, and that looks like a pretty good match to me. This is Sand from Coastal, and Energized from Rose Quartz. That's another one of my favorite shades in the palette. Okay, then we have that creamy kind of Vaseline looking Petri dish shade. That's kind of what I've seen people call it. I think it's really funny. I don't know if these are really gonna show up, but this is Coral from Coastal, and then Love Stone from Rose Quartz. Yeah, I didn't really expect those to show up because it is kind of like a clear, glossy color. Then we have Cocoa from Coastal, and Aura from Rose Quartz. All right, so that is the last row of shades swatched. I feel like, again, this one looks pretty good. I'm interested to see how these pink shades will look on the eyes, but let's get started with the eye look. All right, as always, I'm gonna prime my eyes the exact same way. I'm gonna use the Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer. And I am going to set my eyelids with a little bit of translucent powder. All right, let's go ahead and dive into these palettes. I'm going to use the Alter Ego Coastal on my left eye and the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz on my right eye. And as always, I have two different sets of brushes that I'll be using on each eye, so I'm not mixing the formulas. I'm going to take Shell from Coastal on a Sigma E25, and I'm going to blend this shade into my crease. Picking up a little bit more shadow because I feel like I didn't really get the pigment that I wanted. There we go, that's better. I'm really interested to see how these pink shades are going to turn out because I feel like in the swatches they did look slightly different, but I mean the true test is how do they look on the eyes and how do they wear? I'm going to take a little bit of Jellyfish on the same brush, and I'm just going to use that to blend around the edges of Shell. I am using the mirror in the Alter Ego palette, and it is pretty nice. Like, it's a very clear mirror, so that's always good. So far, these matte shades are blending out really nicely. Now let's do this eye. So I'm going to take Happiness from Rose Quartz on a different E25. Again, I need to pick up more shadow on this brush. I feel like I'm not picking up enough the first dip in. And then I'm picking up Cherished on the same brush and using that to blend around the edges. I feel like this lighter pink shade definitely kind of brightens up the look a bit because at first that deeper matte pink wasn't matching this, but now that I'm adding that lighter shade, I definitely think it's looking more similar now. And as always with Huda's palettes, these mattes are blending beautifully. Alright, so with those two shades down on each eye, I feel like they're looking pretty dang similar. I really want to try out those pinky shimmer shades. So I'm going to take Starfish from Coastal on my finger, and I'm going to apply this all over my eyelid. In the swatches, this shade looked a lot more kind of salmony, so we'll see how these compare on the eyes. Then I'm going to take the E25 that I used on this eye and just softly blend around that shimmer. And then for the other eye, I'm going to take Joy. And then blending this eye with the E25 that I used on this side. Oh, I definitely feel like I see a difference with these shades. You can just see this shade has like just a little bit more of like a salmony peachy color to it, where this one's slightly more, a little bit lavender, I would say. Yeah, I don't think I can get those two lid shades to match. So these two pinky shimmer shades definitely look different on the eyes. I think I want to add a little bit of depth to this look. So I'm going to pick up Cocoa from Coastal on that same E25, and I'm just going to lightly pat that on the like outer third of my lid, just to add some depth out here. And then I'm just taking whatever's left on my brush into my outer crease. I actually really like how this looks. I was worried that the brown would just kind of like overpower the look, but I really like how it's blending in with these pinky shades. Now I'm going to take Aura from Rose Quartz, and I'm just doing the same thing, lightly packing it on the outer part of my lid and then bringing it into my outer crease. And I'm only going in with a little bit of eyeshadow at a time because I don't want to overdo this dark part. I do want to point out that my eyes kind of are two different shapes, so the shape of the eyeshadow might not look exactly the same on both eyes. And I'm going to add a little bit more Cocoa to this side just to try to match this one a little better. Alright, so after adding the dark shade to both eyes, here's what it looks like. I feel like the dark shade kind of balanced out how uneven the pink shade looks, so I feel like the eyes are looking pretty similar right now. I do want to work on this blend right here on both eyes. So I'm going to take a clean Sigma E27, and I'm just going to blend around these edges. I mean, the only brush I've used so far is that E25, so there is kind of a lot of eyeshadow on that brush. And then doing the same thing on this eye. Alright, I'm gonna go off camera and do my face makeup, and then we'll finish up the eyes together. Alright, I finished my face makeup, and I gotta say, I was having a tricky time finding a blush to go with this eye look, and I was like, wait, why don't I just use a shade that's on my eyes? So I really liked how kind of brightening that really light baby pink shade is, so I actually took the shade Jellyfish from Coastal and kind of used that around like the edge of my blush to kind of brighten. Honestly, I would have used that shade from either palette, but the reason I chose the one from Coastal is just because it's placed at the edge of the palette, so it's easier to pick up with a blush brush. So it's kind of around like my cheeks right here. I just think it looks really pretty, so just a little note there. All right, but let's finish up the eyes. I'm gonna take a Sigma E30 pencil brush in the dark brown shade I used from each palette. So from Coastal, I'm taking Cocoa. And I'm gonna run that along my entire lower lash line. This brown shade is so pretty because in the pan it looks kind of like a true just deep brown, but on the eyes it really does have a slight pink undertone to it. While I'm here, I'm also going to pack a little more Cocoa just on the very outer part, kind of in my top lash line, right in this little outer V area, just to deepen this up even more. And then for the other eye, I'm taking a clean E30 in the shade Aura. And then again, taking a little bit more of the shade on the very outer part of my top lash line. Alright, now I just need to blend the lower lash line out a little bit. So from Coastal, I'm going to go back to that light pink shade on a Sigma E42. And I'm going to use that to soften and blend out the dark brown shade. I am going to add a little bit more of that dark brown because I want you to still be able to see it, but of course I just want it to be blended. Okay, so I'm adding more Cocoa and then just blending with the E42. And for the other eye, I'm taking Cherished. All right, we are almost done. I think I want to add one of the fun kind of iridescent shades just to finish off this look. So I'm going to take Sparkle from Coastal, and I'm going to add that to the very inner part of my lid. Oh, this shade is so cool. I love these kind of like iridescent blue shades. Just kind of makes the look a little bit more fun. And then from Rose Quartz, I'm going to take Moon Magic. Again, just right here in this inner part. Alright, now I'm going to take the highlighter that I used on my face for my inner corner, and that is the Rare Beauty highlighter in Enlighten. And a tiny bit of that under my brow. Alright, here's how both eyes look with just the eyeshadow on. And now I'm gonna go pop on some mascara and lashes. Alright, the eyes are done and I decided to just do mascara today. I'm just not in the mood to put on fake eyelashes, so I'm wearing the Give Beauty mascara. I've been using this recently and I really do love it. Like, look at just how long my lashes look. I also did add just a tiny bit of brown eyeliner. Again, I use this one by Give Beauty. And I just lightly lined my lash line on both sides just to add a little bit more depth and definition. So here's what both eyes look like. Again, this is the Alter Ego Coastal palette. This is the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz. I feel like now just looking at my eyes, I would not be able to tell that I'm wearing two different eyeshadow palettes. Like I said, that shimmery pink shade that I put on the eyelids did look different, but once I added that kind of iridescent blue shade, I feel like it made both eyes look pretty much exactly the same. Here's what the face looks like from far away, and in case you're wondering, on my lips, I'm wearing the Lawless Forget the Filler lip gloss in Lavender Sorbet with a little bit of my Fenty Gloss Bomb in Fuss fussy on top because this was just like a little bit too a cool tone, but I feel like it matches the cool tone pinkness of the eyes pretty well. Application wise, I feel like both eyeshadow formulas performed pretty much the same. I didn't have issues blending out any formulas or really packing on anything at all, but I have used Alter Ego's formula many times before, so I kind of expected the formula to work pretty similarly. You guys always ask me to do a wear test when I do these videos, so I'm going to happily do that for you today. It is currently at 12 in the afternoon, so I'm gonna wear this for at least 8 hours today. So I'm gonna check in with you guys throughout the day and I will update you on how the eyeshadow is wearing. Hello, it is currently 3 in the afternoon. I'm just doing some content over here. I wanted to give you a little update on the eyeshadow. Again, this is the Alter Ego eye. This is the Huda Beauty eye. And I feel like things are looking pretty good. I do think that the deeper brown shade looks a bit more pigmented on the Huda Beauty eye than it does on this one, but overall, I think both eyes still look really good. All right, it is currently 7:48, so pretty much 8 o'clock at night, and here is what the makeup is looking like. Here are the eyes zoomed in after 8 hours of wear. I wanna like look really close into my mirror right now. I mean, the eyeshadow is definitely faded a bit. I was also just watching a show. Like, I was laying on my side, so I had like a little tear fall down my eye. But overall, I feel like both eyes wore pretty much the exact same. I mean, the eyeshadow definitely faded on both eyes, but that's kind of to be expected, especially after an 8-hour day. Like I said earlier, I do feel like the darker shade faded a little bit more on the Alter Ego side, but it's barely a difference. Like, that's only if I'm being picky and like looking really close. So overall, after swatching both palettes together, applying both formulas and kind of comparing them that way, and doing a full day wear test, I would say that Coastal is a pretty good dupe for the Rose Quartz palette. I just think Alter Ego is great for someone who wants a high-end color story but just can't afford a $69 palette because that's pretty dang expensive. I would love to know your thoughts down below as well, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.